What's up, YouTube? Man, I'm back. I got some goodies here. I know it's been a while since I made a review, but I've been having so much fun flying my DJI Mavic Pro. Yes, I know I need to do a full review on this thing, but I ain't done playing with it. I got some more exploring to do, some more, messing around to do. But I do want to go ahead and review some stuff for y'all that you need for your Mavic Pro, especially if you're a beginner flyer, because I felt like without this kind of stuff, my Mavic Pro would have been in the repair shop already. Because let's just get into the video. Anyways, so what I got to review here are the propeller guards, the gimbal cover, and the landing gear here. So I'm gonna tell y'all some stories behind all this stuff and why I have it. First off, I want to talk about this landing gear. I want to show y'all a little thing right here. Can you see the little white spot right there? All right, there's a little white spot right there. Almost looks like a bow and arrow. Anyways, there's a little white spot right there. There's one in here, and then there's one on the outside of there. You know why that's there? It's because I crashed it. But let me tell you about the first time I crashed. I crashed 3 times. 2 of them were in the same night within 5 minutes apart. So I got this thing on the first day, right? The wife comes home later that evening. I was like, babe, check it out. And I wanted to show her how stable it was. So I fired it up in the house. And I think because this thing generates so much wind between these 4 props, it went up to where, it takes off, what, 3 feet off the ground, and it started hovering. But I think all that wind that it produces started pushing it towards like the wall. It started sucking it in, and I couldn't control it. And of course, I was brand new. I hadn't really used it before. This sucker comes crashing into the wall, like, whoom, right by my face. I'm like, whoa! It crashes into the wall behind me in the living room, knocked some paint off the wall, took a little chunk out of the wall too, and broke 2 propellers. And I was freaked out, man. I was like, oh, my drone. So, I made sure the thing was okay. It actually, I don't think it actually broke a propeller at that point, but my crazy butt decided to fire it up again and try it again just to make sure, it wasn't something wrong I did. But I fired it up again, and then it goes crashing into the couch. And so I ended up breaking, I think, 2 propellers that night, the first day I had it. And I was thinking, okay, maybe this thing shouldn't be flown inside. So this is a word to the wise. This is your public safety announcement. Do not fly this thing inside. It is not a fly inside kind of toy. Go ahead and try it if you want to, but you definitely want to make sure you got some propeller guards, because had I had the propeller guards on at that time, I didn't even own any at that time, but had I had them on, that would not have happened. But here's the thing, don't fly this thing inside. It's a freaking drone. It's supposed to be outside in the wild, flying around, taking 4K video and stuff. Keep this thing outside. Anyways, so let's go to the time where I actually did crash it outdoors with the prop guards on. All right, so those were the first 2 times, and that was just me being stupid and flying this thing indoors, which I shouldn't have been doing anyways. The next time was about, I don't know, maybe a week later. I took my boy out to the park, and this is a very intelligent device. It will actually tell you on the remote or on your screen when you're using a smartphone or tablet, it'll tell you, hey, there's high wind velocity. Don't fly this thing right now. It's too much wind, dude. It'll also tell you, hey, you're in a no-fly zone right now. This is probably not the best place for you to fly. So you need to confirm that you understand that you're flying in a no-fly zone right now. And it'll let you fly, but you have to, confirm that you understand. And the third one I've seen is magnetic interference. Like there's a bunch of magnetic interference. And that was the one that got me in trouble, because I said, all right, no big deal. We're in a park, what could go wrong? Okay, so we're flying this thing, my boy's flying, and I think, when I've flown in magnetic fields before, I flew over it and I think it was okay, but we were actually in it, inside of the park. There's a lot of trees, and there's a big open space with a lot of trees around, and then there was, telephone poles and stuff like that. So, he's flying for the first time, and that's why I put the prop guards on, because I was like, man, if I crash this thing in my living room, hand the controller to my boy, we're flying low, let me go ahead and put these prop guards on. So I put them on. He's flying, having a good old time. Next thing you know, it gets out of control. So I snatched away from him, because I thought he was doing it, but I snatched away from him. Turns out this thing, the magnetic field had taken over, so the drone just going all over the place. And I'm like, oh God, I gotta crash this thing. So I crash land it, and it goes literally doing a cartwheel, perfect 10 cartwheel into a telephone pole. At the time, I had the landing gear on, these little legs right here, and I had the prop guards on, and that's why this one's all banged up. But let me tell you, had it not been for these prop guards, let me tell you, I walked over to that thing, and one of these arms was bent back and the other one was partially folded, and I just knew the gimbal was destroyed, but it wasn't. The prop guard actually protected the drone, as you can see. The drone just had a little scratch on the battery, and I think 2 props were broken. So I've gone through 4 props, 2 sets, in the matter of maybe 2 or 3 weeks from crashing 3 times. But and the landing gear also protected the gimbal because it wasn't close to the ground. So why am I telling you all this? First of all, this thing is very intelligent and it's very hard to crash if you're doing the right things. If you're flying in the house, you know you're supposed to be flying in the house, you're gonna crash. If you're flying in an area where there's a lot of wind, you're probably gonna crash. If you're flying in a magnetic field area, you're probably gonna crash. So listen to the machine, let it tell you, hey, just obey the machine, okay? Respect it. So why should you get this stuff? You get the prop guards if you're just learning to fly. And even if you're pretty much an expert flyer, I would say get the prop guards anyways, because you don't want these on here all the time. One, because they take up a lot of space and you can't transport this thing with these on here. And it kind of defeats the purpose of having, you know, this foldable compact drone. But let's say you're in the woods, right? And you want to do some flying in between those trees. Don't do that without these prop guards on, because if you have them on, it just kind of bounces off, you know, and you don't have to worry about replacing, you know, propellers and stuff. So even if you're an expert flyer, I'd say get them, just because you don't want to be bumping into stuff if you're flying into these, you know, areas. But keep in mind, these things add a little weight, and you know, I don't know how much weight it is, and they do catch a lot of wind, it seems like, because when I was flying, I noticed that it kind of, you know, it kind of lagged a little bit as far as the way it would maneuver, and the wind would catch it a little bit, and it drifted just a little bit. So they do affect flight, but you know, it just depends on what type of shots you're getting or how you want to fly. If you're up in the air, don't worry about the prop guards, man. This thing ain't gonna crash unless it's in high wind velocity. This thing ain't gonna crash if you're up in the air, but if you're below a tree line, you need to have these things on here. It will protect you and save your drone. So the prop guards are good to go. They're all perfectly fitted for each individual leg. So that's why I have them on here already, because I ain't gonna have to go through that process. You must take off the propeller, and then each one is fitted to each leg. So you put this bottom part underneath it, swing this around like this. By the way, my drone's name is Ace. Okay, so Ace, meet everybody. Everybody meet Ace. What's up? All right, so you slide that under there like that, and then you put this over here, put that right over the motor, slide it over there. It's perfectly fitted for that leg curvature and angle. And then there's 2 little pins in here that you line up, slide it on like that, clip, and it's on there just like that. And then you just got to put your prop back on, twist and lock, and then you are good to go. Now you see you got plenty of clearance here from on the underside of the propeller, and looks like it probably sticks out, what, maybe a ½ inch away from the furthest point of the propeller. So you are well protected on all 4 sides. Let's talk about this landing gear now. So you see how it has a super low profile, right? Let's move this. So you see how it has this super low profile. That's cool. I mean, it really does look cool like that. But a lot of times I'm not taking off or landing from a concrete slab or something like that. So bad idea to have your gimbal dangling all in the dirt like that. So especially when you land and you got this wind kicking up and you got the fan, the induction fan, you know, bringing in all that crap. So you want to raise it up a little bit. These things are labeled left and right, and I think it's subjective however you want to put them. I've got mine. So I'm just going to put this one right here. I don't like to squeeze on my motor. I don't like to push on my motor like that. So I just kind of grab the whole thing and just kind of push it on like that. And it's friction mounted, so it doesn't clip on anything. It just mounts via the friction. And it just goes on just like that. And you are all set to go. It's got these little rubber pads you can stick on there with some, I think it's got some 3M on the other side. And that way it kind of buffers the landing a little bit, so it's not, you know, hard. So it's not a hard impact, kind of buffers that impact a little bit. And then on the back side, see, this one has this little brace right here. There's a sensor underneath the drone right there. And if you put this on backwards, you'll know, because it covers up the sensor. And you really don't want to be doing that because you're going to mess around and crash. So you put this on the right way, you put it on these little feet right here. It clips right in those little slots. And then you put it down just like that. Now you got roughly, I'd say about ½ to ¾ of an inch more. Let me look at this. I'd say you got at least an inch of extra ground clearance. That way your gimbal's not hanging down in the dirt and, you know, all that trash right there. So your gimbal has plenty of space to move around, do everything it needs to do. And I'll be honest with you, during that last crash I had, the bad one that, you know, dented my prop guard, these landing guards actually help protect the gimbal. One of them actually flew off, but it was actually sitting up kind of like this, I think, or no, something like that. And because of the landing gear, I still had space between where the gimbal would have hit, and you know, there was a lot of space in there, so it didn't actually get damaged at all. No damage to the drone except for, you know, the battery had a little scratch on it. So that's awesome. So I would definitely say get the landing gear and keep it on there all the time, because even when you fold this thing up, it will fit in your bag. You're just gonna have to put it in there a certain way because the legs hang out a little bit more, but it'll fit in any bag just the way it is, you know, if you keep the landing gear on. That's why I like these, because there's another kind with these braces, and you can't keep those on. They just won't work out. I like these because I can keep them on all the time. This thing was meant to kind of open up your bag, put it on the ground, and fly kind of situation. And whatever it is, I don't want it to hinder that. So that brings me to my next thing, this gimbal cover right here. So when on that last crash, when I saw that the gimbal almost got messed up, I was like, man, you know, if it wasn't for that landing gear, my gimbal would have been toast. So let me get one of these gimbal covers. So I get it, thinking it's going to protect everything, and it does, because once you clip it on just like the one that actually comes with the drone. So you just slide it in 2 slots right there, just like that, and it clips, and it's injection molded. It's not some 3D printed crap, and it sits just like that. So your gimbal is actually protected. It does not stick out of this curvature right here, so it's protected on all sides. I only have one gripe about this thing. A lot of people use these for better video quality as far as blocking sun flares and stuff like that. I actually kind of like the sun flare because it adds more of an artistic effect to the flight or to the video. But I just wanted it for the added protection, and since it's open, you can fly with it on there. Only thing is, if you are shooting some video and you're looking for quality and you don't want nothing randomly appearing in your video, don't jerk around too fast, because when you yaw left and right too fast, or when you take off back or forth too fast, you're gonna see that the gimbal's gonna move, and then you're gonna see the edge of this thing, whether it be the left or right edge or the top edge, you're gonna see it in your shot. So if you can get past that, you're good to go. But just remember, when you yaw left and right, you know, and you swerve a lot, that gimbal starts to move, and it will catch the brim of this thing in your shot. Other than that, you can go ahead and fly with this thing on here, because you got plenty of open area for your airflow to get in through your motor and everything. And of course, it doesn't mess with the transportation on this thing. So I'd say it's a good accessory. And if you do for some reason have some crash, it will protect your gimbal. I mean, it is plastic, and it just might pop off, but it's better than having nothing, right? It's kind of like a motorcycle helmet. So those are my reviews for each one of these. Now I feel like I have a well-protected drone. I'm ready to go out, and if a lion just jumps out of nowhere and smacks my drone down, I'm not gonna be worried that my drone is in trouble and my gimbal's gonna be all damaged, because I got this like body armor on my drone. Look how tough he looks, man. That is crazy. You go ahead, do your thing, Ace. So check it out. I ain't never claimed to be an expert in this kind of stuff. I'm just a dude flying a drone. But before I go, I want you to tap on that like button and smash on that subscribe button, and I'll see y'all at the next one.